Boom ba da 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 dee da da dee da 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 do do do. It's time for what's wrong with the world hour. Hey everybody, welcome to What's Wrong with the World Hour. I'm your host Jason Hicks. Today we will be talking about things that are wrong with the world. Sounds pretty generic. Sounds pretty exciting if you ask me. And what we're going to talk about today is I'm just really excited about it. You know, there's all kind of crazy stuff going on, and it's just, let me out, let me out. That's what we titled tonight. Let me out, let me out. There's so much weirdness happening in the world, and you just really don't know what to do with it. You know, it's just a lot of crazy stuff happening, and so I want to talk about some of it. We got recent developments, in Supreme Court stuff. I'm sure most of y'all have heard about that. We also have different things that's going on locally and all that stuff. So anyway, sorry, I'm trying to get my Bible going here. There we go. For some reason, that doesn't want to turn. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to read here a little bit. Make sure I'm in the right place. God's pretty good. He's pretty awesome. Did some praying for some folks today. Had somebody go through deliverance. Went great. Also, if you're out there and you're joining us, we want to encourage you to share. You're out?
Yeah, we're done.
Oh, man. Who won?
We forfeited to Brandon, who retired playing.
Oh, okay. So we had an amazing game of Monopoly going this evening. And hey, Teresa. And it was a good time. That's why I was like, who won? I hated to get out. But anyway, I had to because I want to get on here and talk to you guys. So today for church, we talked about, the test that God puts us through. And when we look through Deuteronomy chapter 8, God's talking about people go, I just don't think God tests us. Well, look at Deuteronomy chapter 8. God tests us. And what do we do with it? When God gives us that test, how do we behave? And we talked about Abraham. Did he, not fulfilling his test that he had, but God still counted him as righteous? Then Joseph fulfilling, what God had for him. There's so many people we could have talked about. We talked about John Mark, fell away and then came back roaring, And so that's pretty awesome. So I encourage you to get on there, check that out. We'll have it on YouTube after a little bit this evening. But tonight there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about. But before we do, I figure we ought to read some Bible. Is that all right with y'all? So anyway, we're going to do Psalm chapter, I can put it on the screen. How about that? Is it offensive to anybody if we read the Bible? I hope it is. If it bothers you, you got problems. And so anyway, if it bothers you, I'm almost sorry, but not really. How about that? I'm almost sorry. I'm trying to get this thing fixed, y'all. Let's see. Come on. Work with me. This thing's not working with me. Okay. This is so cool. Y'all, I'm telling you, I love technology. I think it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Who we got? We got Joe. Hey. Hola, buenas noches. I'll take 2 of those with a side of rice, brother. How about that? Does that make sense? So anyway, yeah, I'll take 2 of the buenas noches with a side of rice, Joe. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to read some Bible, and then we'll get into what the topic is for tonight. Did y'all know there's going to be a blood moon tonight? Yeah, it's going to be a blood moon tonight. It's real exciting. I think those things are so cool. A lot of times people will bring them in with some prophetic stuff that's happening in the world. I'm not a prophet, so I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's something that, I don't know what's going on in the world. I know it's a sign in the heavens. And so when I see that, I'm like, what? Automatically I'm going, what's God doing? God's doing something. We probably don't hear about it in the news, but God is doing something. So anyway, this thing's going to start at like 9:53 tonight and go all the way through till about 1 o'clock in the morning, I think. So yeah, I want to encourage everybody to get out there and check it out. It's a big old full moon. It's going to be beautiful. And it should be really red, they say. So I'm going to stay up and check that out. Hope I make it to work on time tomorrow. Anyway, I hope y'all make it to work on time too. All right, so here we go. Let's read this. This is Psalm 139. It says, O Lord, you have searched me and know me. You know, I'm going to make it big. Let's make it big. He says, this is Psalm 139. So if y'all want to join with it at home, that'll be great. If not, I understand. All right, so Psalm 139. O Lord, you have searched me and know me. How about that? You have known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Ain't that something? There's nothing you can hide from God, y'all. I hope y'all know that. There's nothing you're going to hide from God. You can't even hide from Him. We're going to find that out in just a second too. He says, you search out my path and my lying down. You're acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it all together. Woo! Good Lord, how about that one right there? Isn't that amazing? Oh, man. You hem me in behind and before and lay your hand upon me. Yes, He does. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it. We can't understand what God's saying. You know what I'm saying? We can't understand it. We just can't understand it. Where shall I go from your spirit, or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. Yes, if I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. Hallelujah. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. Yes, the night is bright as day, for darkness is as light with you. For you, this is going to tie in right here what we're talking about tonight. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. Yes, He is an awesome Savior. Yes, He is an awesome Savior, Teresa. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret. Oh man, that's where God does it. Intricately woven in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. There wasn't even a day yet, and He's already written them in His book. Good heavens. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. How vast is the sum of His thoughts for us. That's amazing, y'all. I'm just telling you, I think it's incredible. It's the Bible talks about it right there. How vast are your thoughts for me? You can't even number them. There's just so many of them. There's just so many of them. And He says, if I would count them, they are more than the sand. Whoa. If you live out here where we live in South Carolina, you know what that means. There's a lot of sand. Let's see here. I awake and I am still with you. Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God. O men of blood, depart from me. They speak against you with malice intent. Your enemies take your name in vain. I do not hate those who hate you, O Lord. Or excuse me, He says, do I not hate those that hate you, O Lord? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with complete hatred. Good gracious. I count them my enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And see if there be any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. What a prayer that is, man. Lead me in the way everlasting. God gracious. That is Psalm 139. Psalm 139. That's probably one of my favorite psalms to read. I just think that is just, it just pumps me up, man. I think about the guys back in the 80s. Pump you up. Because it's just like, wow, you know, He formed us before we were even known, before we even had a day. Before we even had a day, He already formed us. And He already had everything lined out for us. And it's just, wow, it's amazing. So we're going to kind of get into some of that tonight. And let's go over here, because I got a story I want to talk about. This is something that everybody out there, thoughts and prayers need to go out and pray for these folks as, what do you call it, a catastrophe. Something really bad happened today in New York. I think it was in Buffalo. In Buffalo, this dude here, let's see him right there. Let's see if we can enlarge him. That guy. Yep, he shot some folks today. I think he killed 10 people. Horror. 10 dead in mass shooting at Buffalo supermarket. Armageddon light. Terrified shoppers jumped in freezers. Witness recalls shooter's blank expression. Suspect live streamed. the killing today. So it was racially motivated. He's 18-year-old Nazi. The N-word scrawled on his rifle. Sought revenge for Waukesha parade victims. That's where some other idiot sought revenge for something else some other idiot did, and drove a car through a bunch of Christmas parade people. So now this guy is full of demons. Just starts shooting people, and it's a sad day. And so we remember those that are still there. The families and things like that are having to to deal with such loss. I mean, we in our family, we just recently lost somebody. He was 92 years old. That was hard enough. I can't imagine a sudden loss like that and how bad that must be. You know what I'm saying? It's sad to me. It's just sad. And that's really all I can say, because it's just such loss of life. But the Bible says that the Lord orders our steps, and He knows our beginning from our end. So we just have to pray that these people, we have to hope and believe that these people knew the Lord, and that I was at a grocery store. That's right, Joe, and that they'll be in heaven through this travesty. But the main thing we want to pray for is that people get saved out of this. I think that should always, as a Christian, be our it should always be our kind of go-to. That we should be praying for people to get saved through this travesty, through this horrible, senseless thing. And there's never a reason for ending somebody's life unless they're putting your life in danger, in my opinion. And most states, the law is on your side for that. There was also a church shooting in California, I think, today. I bet you they're getting ready to push gun legislation. I was reading an article about she's the governor of New York. I forget her name, like Hochul or something. And she said that we need to clamp down and censor more social media and take away guns. Maybe she doesn't look at New York City. New York City, they're killing people like crazy with guns, and guns are illegal. So are knives. Look at London. London, England, they got rid of guns, so now they kill each other with machetes. I mean, you can get rid of machetes, they'll kill each other with sticks. It doesn't matter. Evil's going to kill. I mean, that's just what it does. And it's just sad to me, but that's where we are. That's why we talk about what's wrong with the world, right? We talk about what's wrong with the world because there's a lot wrong with the world. And so anyway, it's a sad day that this is what we've come to. So anyway, I want to pick on our congressman here, Mr. Joe Wilson. He's the one you'll remember back during President Obama that hollered out, "You lie!" Which everybody kind of rallied behind him. And I have a very strong animus towards this gentleman because when I was losing my job, along with a whole lot of other people that had to compromise their beliefs out at the place where we work, with the vaccine mandate and stuff, he did nothing to stand up for people's rights. And so I like to pick on him. So anyway, here's a story, and maybe I'll get censored because I don't go along with what they say. But House brings back World War II era weapons program to support Ukraine. Biden is expected to sign. The House of Representatives overwhelmingly voted Thursday to reinstate a World War II weapons sharing program to support Ukraine against a continuing Russian invasion. Republican South Carolina Rep. Joe Wilson introduced the Ukrainian, I'm so happy, I'm so proud he came from my state, introduced the Ukrainian Democracy Defense Lend-Lease Act in February. It is modeled after the Lend-Lease program, which was first created by Congress in 1941 to arm Great Britain. It passed the House 417-10 with 221 Democrats and 196 Republicans voting in favor. 10 Republicans voted against the legislation. I love old Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Georgia. We'll get into her in a minute. And here's let's see, a companion bill unanimously passed the Senate on April 6th. Voice vote. President Joe Biden is expected to sign the legislation, although the Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby declined to get ahead of the president's decision with respect to the bill during his Wednesday press conference. It's absolutely the amazing and unintended consequences of Vladimir Putin that he's brought Democrats and Republicans together, Wilson said on the House floor. He probably said it like this: "It's absolutely the amazing and unintended consequence of Vladimir Putin that he's brought Republicans and Democrats together, Wilson said on the House floor. He has united the people of the U.S. and with the leadership of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Chairman Greg Meeks and Ranking Member Mike McCall, Americans are united in their support for the people of the Ukraine. For 63 days, the courageous people of Ukraine have resisted full-scale invasion by war criminal Putin with his murderous occupying forces, in large part due to the courageous leadership of President Volodymyr Zelensky. Give me a frickin' break, right? Come on. Y'all, I'm just saying. This thing ain't nothing but a money laundering scheme. It ain't nothing but garbage. Okay, for 63 days, their border has been overrun. So our government has just voted to send 40 billion US dollars, countless munitions and guns over to Ukraine so they can defend their border. Meanwhile, defunding our border security. See, this is the thing. Pay attention, people. Pay attention. Okay? All I'm trying to remain Christian-like on this as we talk about it, because you have to look at what are they actually doing. So these same people lecture us about that you're xenophobic, you're racist, all this stuff. If you don't want people just pouring across our border's more porous than a darn Swiss cheese on a Tom and Jerry cartoon. But they don't care about that. Excuse me, come out, critters. They don't care about that. But they care about sending 40 billion of our dollars over to the Ukraine to defend their border? Come on, man, give me a break. While you defund our police, they say defund the police, defund all this stuff, but yet we can fund the Ukrainian police. That's okay. We can fund their border. That's okay. And our people are so stupid, we go along with it. We're like, oh yeah, Ukraine all the way. No, it sucks for them. It does. But it just happens. But I like what Marjorie Taylor Greene did, our congressman from Georgia. And I say our because she's down here in the South. But what she said was, because this what do you call it? Washington Post reporter. I was watching the video the other day. I wish I would have put it on here. He's interviewing her and he says, so why did you not support the effort to help arm Ukraine and to beat back the Russians? Because Russia's evil, because they helped steal the election in 2016 from Hillary. And you know what she said? It was absolutely beautiful. She goes, I do. My heart goes out for the Ukrainian people. She's like, but the fact is, I was elected to represent whatever her district is in Georgia. She said, I'm here to represent Americans, really Georgians, to the United States Congress. She says, you know what we did today? We named post offices. Because that's so important. She says, we don't have baby formula. We have people dying in our streets. We have a drug epidemic, a fentanyl epidemic. We have all these problems. People pouring across the border, hundreds of thousands of people. And we're worried about sending something to Ukraine? And then Joe Wilson going, and both sides of the aisle are working together. And Vladimir Putin has brought this country together. No, actually, he's exposed a lot of this country, and our people see it. People like our congressman, our dear sweet leader there, Joe Wilson, that obviously cares nothing about the people of his district, thinks it's a great thing that both sides of the aisle are working together. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Go ahead, y'all are both working together to screw us to send our money somewhere else. I don't see how that's something that the American people and the people in your district get behind. It's just something about it to go, oh, Mr. Wilson, you know what? We have inflation in this nation like we've never seen. It was horrible under the Carter administration, and we've already bypassed that. We have people that just will not work, and the government pays them to stay home. It's the worst economy we've seen for who knows how long. I think since the 70s, and we had the best economy the nation's ever had, and within 1 year, it's all gone to pot. But let's send some money away, please. I think that's a great idea. And then there's also an article I'm looking at where Saudi Arabia has recorded more oil profits than any time in their history. Hey, thank God we put those embargoes on Russian oil. And then we quit pumping our own oil and digging, getting our own oil. So now, the state sponsor of terrorism, the leading state sponsor of terrorism, can support more jihad against us. I'm glad both sides of the aisle came together for that one. Class, see? So anyway, that's just stuff that's going on. That's why we call it What's Wrong with the World Hour. It's just kind of, it's almost scary, the things that are happening. It just shows how stupid they think you are. I'm sorry. It's just, I would love to, it's one thing that I did love about the former administration, the Trump administration. I like America first. And that's something that, so all these, a lot of incumbent Republicans are losing in their primaries to America First Trump endorsed candidates. And so we're actually being united in a different way to get rid of the people that have been there forever, these career politicians like Mr. Wilson. And I would love to see him go. I don't see why, I do feel for the people of Ukraine. I do. I hate it for them. But at the same time, they cannot take precedence over our own people. You know what I'm saying? They can't. That doesn't make sense to me. But there again, I'm not a politician, so it probably shouldn't make sense. So, let's see here. This is out of News Channel 6, WJBF, here in Augusta, Georgia. Well, we're in Aiken. I don't claim Augusta. Girl killed in California church exorcism. Oh, this is something we know a little bit about exorcism. Let's get into this. Court documents reveal. So this is by Amy Larson, Nexstar Media Wire, posted May 11th, 2022. San Jose, California. For those of you around Augusta, it's not San Jose, it's San Jose. A 3-year-old girl was tortured, how about that, and killed by her family as they performed a disturbing exorcism-like ritual casting out a demon, according to church documents. Arlie, I guess that's her name, Arely. Arlie died inside a small church in San Jose, California after she was strangled by her mother, uncle, and grandfather on September 24th, according to Santa Clara County prosecutors. What'd they do, take turns strangling her? Good Lord. Hey, Deborah. The girl's family, quote, believed the child was possessed by a demon and were at church praying for her. Deputy District Attorney Rebecca Wise wrote in court documents. The victim's grandfather was identified as the leader of the church and claimed he was a certified pastor, Wise wrote. Harley's mother, Claudia Elise Hernandez, I guess I had to get a different accent for this one, of Mountain View, was charged on February 2nd with felony assault on a child with force likely to produce great bodily injury. Hernandez is currently behind bars with no bail. Information about the harrowing homicide was never made public by San Jose Police Department or District Attorney's Office. Newly recovered court documents, however, detail what investigators believe happened to Arlie. Hernandez was interviewed by police officers on September 24th and 25th. During the interviews, the mother told police that on September 23rd, she began to believe that Arlie was possessed because the 3-year-old girl would periodically wake up in the middle of the night crying or screaming. She might not be off base there. I'm just saying. She might not be off base, but she might just be oppressed too. I mean, it doesn't always have to be possessed. So on September 24th at 6:30 a.m., Arlie's mother and uncle drove her to the church. The girl's mother, uncle, and grandfather held Arlie down by her neck, torso, and legs for several hours. They attempted to make her vomit by sticking fingers and hands down her throat. She's 3! Oh, you critter! You demon, you come out of her now! You come out of her now! If you don't come out of her, we're going to go to Santo Poco, get a guavo. You want to get a guavo, we come back and we catch a demon out of you. I don't think that's how you do it. You'll steal. We'll put our fingers down your throat and you throw the demon on. Because I seen him do it on YouTube. This is how they do it. It doesn't work like that, okay? Can a young girl, 3 years old, need deliverance? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you force it on them like that? No, you don't hold them down by their throat. Good Lord. We've prayed for people before that were totally out of control. I'm talking about totally out of control. Little bitty girl. It took 5 of us to hold her down. Crazy, crazy stuff. But you never held her down by her throat. Good Lord. You just try to keep them from hurting themselves. And you sure don't put your fingers down their throat. I want biting my fingers off. Are y'all crazy? Arlie lost consciousness and suffered multiple injuries around her eyes, face, and neck and chest, Wise wrote in court documents. Arlie died around 6:30 p.m. after 12 hours of torture. Court documents state Hernandez told police that no one performed medical assistance to help the girl before or after she died. Well, we just thought it was a demon.
I think it's so sad.
She thinks it's sad.
I mean, like, it's sad that people think that it's okay to play around with this stuff. They don't know what they're doing, and they're more possessed.
Yeah. And that's what's funny. So this is when you think about a situation like this, is in an attempt to get the devil out of the little girl, the demon that's in them, those demons, spirits, whatever makes you feel good to call them, rises up and causes them to do something stupid like what they did to that little girl, to the point you don't even try to help them. You just watch them die. And you know what do you do? It's like, good Lord, y'all, get somebody that knows what they're doing. That's what I would say. It's like, we still believe ministries. We believe in deliverance. I put the number up on the screen. If anybody out there, you think you need deliverance, you need help spiritually, that's what we do. That's what we believe. We see the power of Jesus, and with that, we work in that power. Jesus cast demons out. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but you have to do it responsibly. You have to do it like somebody actually cares. I tell this story because I can make fun of it, because we minister deliverance. It's sad that this little girl died, but you know what? If she got to go to heaven, she's probably better off. I'm just telling you. Somebody's going to beat her and stick their fingers down her throat because they think she got a demon, because she wakes up in the night crying. It's probably because the devil's in there tormenting her in her sleep and scaring her half to death. But anyway, you don't just do those things. It's so sad. So she died around 6:30, and the family waited until 8:12 p.m. to call 911. They didn't try to resuscitate her or anything like that. Well, I didn't know if she had a do not resuscitate order on her. We threw some chicken bones and we did some candles to the saints. We prayed to Mary. And Mary, she did not,
They were Catholics.
I think so, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. But Mary, she didn't bring her back to life. And so we didn't know what to do. So we got everybody out. We said, we called the gringos. They come and get her. So the family waited till around 8:12 to call 911. When paramedics arrived, they found Arlie's lifeless body at the church floor. That's sad. A coroner determined that her death was a homicide because caused by suffocation and smothering. That's so sad, man. Hernandez was the only person arrested in connection with the case. Prosecutors urged Judge Luis Ramos to deny bail because Hernandez posed a risk to public safety and is considered a flight risk. Amen. She was born in El Salvador, has minimal ties to the community, and is considered a high flight risk, Wise wrote. That's the prosecutor. Prosecutors noted the extreme cruelty Hernandez allegedly inflicted on her daughter. She strangled her multiple times to the point where the victim went unconscious. She stuck her hands down her throat and continued this course of conduct for almost a full day, Wise wrote. I'm just telling you, y'all, that ain't church. That's demons. That's demons operating church. And it's just sad. I mean, it's just sad. And it says here, a video uploaded on YouTube in January, 4 months after Arlie died, appears to show the mother talking about her daughter's death. The YouTube video is titled with Arlie's full name. And the woman says in the video, everyone wants to know what happened to her. You know the cause of death. A lot of people turned on me after my daughter passed away. A lot of people thought of a lot of things because of how a situation looked. If you weren't there, you really don't know what happened. I know what happened. When she passed away, she was with me. Of course, I'm her mom. Why would she not be with me? The woman says. A self-shot video is 40 minutes long. At times, the woman smiles and laughs as she chews gum. I could sit here and be negative, But there's no point in me doing that. I cannot change what is, the woman says. She continues, it's many reasons why God took her. At least she's not suffering. In this world, we suffer so much, especially nowadays. Everything is so bad. Everything is going downhill. That's what I'm thankful for. She's not going to grow up in the world we live in. It's hard to think that I'm not going to see her grow up, but you know, it's okay. It's okay because I know she's in a better place. God knows why He allowed these things. My baby was such a baby, happy baby. Being a mom is one of the best things. Of course, when I think of her, I get sad and cry and I miss her, the woman says. That's so sad. I mean, it's so sad. She was charged by prosecutors 6 days after the video was uploaded to YouTube. She faces 25 years in prison if convicted. 25 years to life. San Jose Church is located inside a purple house. One of them home churches. That was swarmed by police officers last month while they were searching for a kidnapped baby. That's kind of interesting. Well, it makes you wonder what kind of church it is. Just because it says church don't mean it's a Christian church, okay? Y'all got to know that. A woman was charged with kidnapping the baby boy. Yesenia Guadalupe Ramirez is reportedly one of the church's members. Prosecutors say Ramirez plotted with a second kidnapper, Jose Ramon Portillo, to snatch the boy out of his grandmother's apartment. The grandmother told media outlets that she met Ramirez through the church and the two women became friends. What's up with the purple house? I heard that people will paint the houses different colors like that because it wards off different spirits. This is all witchcraft. It's all witchcraft. It's, but that's what I'm saying. Just because they call it a church doesn't mean it's actually a church. Okay, it is witchcraft, or probably Santeria, stuff like that, which masquerades very much as it's a great question. It masquerades very much with Catholicism. You get down Latin. I don't know why we call them Latin nations, but anyway, Central South America practice. It's a lot of voodoo and Catholicism blended, amalgamation, and that's where they get this stuff. That's, you get Santeria, Palomayobi, things like that, and voodoo, All Saints, things like that. It's probably a purple building in Myrtle Beach. Wouldn't shock me. So, a 3-month-old infant was hidden for 20 hours inside Portillo's home in San Jose before he was rescued by police. Quote, the motive behind the broad daylight bizarre kidnapping remains under investigation, prosecutors wrote. And with all this stuff going on with child sacrifices and, the child sex trafficking rings and all this, it's like, whoa. You hear these stories and it just makes you kind of go, good Lord. What is happening here? And they're at a church. They're bringing these kids to a church. They're killing them at church. It's like, is this was the possession story something was made up? I don't know. I don't even want to know, to be honest with you. All right, here's another one. Mainstream media, this is from InfoWars. This is actually Zero Hedge. It was posted on InfoWars, May 12th, 2022. So it's been Thursday. Mainstream media warns against homemade baby formula as manufacturer says at least 2 months delay. Ooh, so we can't. This is the thing that irritates me about government and the media. Okay, did you catch this? What this thing just said here? Mainstream media says that we don't need to use baby formula. You don't need to make your baby formula. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to depend on them, even though it's going to be 2 months away before it gets here. Which reminds me, all you got to do is go down to the border and you get all the baby formula you want. Unless you live in a border town, you're an American, you can't. Here's a picture of the shelves there. If you're an American, you're not getting baby formula. But if you go down there to those border checkpoints and stuff, you get all the baby formula you need. They're sending pictures in, y'all. So, with 43% of baby formula out of stock across the country due to supply disruptions at the nation's largest plant, images of empty shelves and desperate mothers have been flooding social media. Don't try to take matters into your own hands, moms. According to New York Times, pediatricians strongly advise against trying to make baby formula at home. Okay. Most mothers, not all mothers, because it does happen sometimes, or it doesn't happen. You make your baby formula at home. Right here. God gave it to you. God did that. Why? What do you think the world did before baby formula? I'm just saying. Did every baby starve? Did every baby starve? I mean, really, think about it. It's just common sense. And what I love is that they're let's see. Here's what the article says: some are rationing food or driving to stores hours away, only to find empty shelves. Others are heading online to look up homemade baby formula recipes that use anything from powdered goat's milk to raw cow's milk, which are both great substitutes. Now, pediatricians warn that do-it-yourself baby formulas carry significant health risks because we can't tax it. Homemade baby formula. What I just said, look, if you're a new mother and maybe you didn't breastfeed, maybe you didn't nurse, and it dried up, because that does happen. That's, I feel for you at this point. Maybe you know somebody that can sell you some of their milk, because I know that does happen.
There's breast milk banks.
There's breast milk banks that you can get on. There's communities, Facebook, things like this. It's the greatest thing for your child, especially if you know the person. You know what I mean? Because they're not on drugs and stuff like that, and drinking and smoking and who knows what else. But anyway, so let's see here. This is somebody, children's. This is Katie Lockwood. Homemade formula is dangerous for babies. What about that crap you pump into their body? Is what I would ask. The follow-up question by Mr. Jason Hicks. Katie Lockwood is an attending physician at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia Primary Care. Regular formula is FDA regulated and held to very high standards, the same way we treat medications. Well, that instills a lot of confidence, said no one. Making it at home is a lot riskier. Right, because it only happened that way for 6,000 years in this world. Steve Abrams.
What do they want you to do if you can't get your hands on formula?
Right. What do they want you to do? You can come to them and they'll probably give them something. I'm sure they probably got a freaking vaccine for it. Steve Abrams, spokesman for the American Academy of Pediatrics, said, the nutrients in homemade formulas are inadequate in terms of critical components babies need, especially protein and minerals. So here's a dirty little secret. It's really not a dirty little secret anymore, because thank God to this internet that we have that some people still complain about. We actually know things. So, you know what, like the baby formula, loaded in phytoestrogen. Estrogen. You start to look when baby formula was put out, remember in the 60s into the 70s, it was, we don't have to breastfeed, blah, blah, blah. And now we're going to do formula. And then you look at the rise of homosexuality and correspond it with the rise in people using formula. I'm just saying, look, hey, we have a crisis in the United States because all of our conspiracy theories have come true. We've run out of them. But it's worth thinking about. It's worth using that brain over. And, especially protein and minerals. Okay, what they have in these baby formulas is chemical versions of protein and minerals. And so what it does is it mimics those. Therefore, your body thinks you're getting them, even though you're not. So your brain and your body is happy. But meanwhile, things like the pancreas are going, what are you putting in here? And it doesn't know how to digest. It doesn't know what enzymes to produce to break this stuff down. So you're damaging the body. I understand sometimes you have to do these things, but God gave you something. Use them. That's what they're there for. They're not there as sexual objects. They're not there to give you back strain. It's there for babies, for having children. We should think of ourselves. Let's see. We should think for ourselves, but they don't want us to do that. Ain't that the truth,
Amen.
Teresa? That is it. They want to tell you what to think and what to do, and they expect you to do it. That was obvious for the last 2 years. Homebrew baby formula can also contain an excess of materials or nutrients like salt, which a baby's developing kidneys or liver may be unable to break down. Yeah, I mean, this is, wow. What's more, babies can suffer from water intoxication, where the baby might get too much water. If the balance of nutrients of liquids are off, according to Dr. Suzette, chief of academic general pediatrics of Children's Hospital at Montefiore, New York City. What's their solution? Call your doctor. Go to a charity. Use cow milk in a pinch. Preferably the one you buy at a store, not the one you buy from a raw organic farm. It's just, the first call any parent or caregiver struggling to track down baby formula should make is to their child's pediatrician, because the doctor knows better than you do. I added that in there. They may have formula samples on hand or be able to help connect you with local charities or breast milk banks that can help. And that's true. So you do need to check. But you can also do this stuff on your own as well. I'm just saying, just think for yourself. It wouldn't hurt for you to do something on your own. Speaking of breast milk, speaking of this whole topic, United States people are a little too much on the teat, if you ask me. You need to pop it out your mouth and go do something for yourself. That's what you need to do. You got to actually go out and put yourself out. Because this is what happens when you keep getting stuff handed. When you just stick your hand out. You stick your hand out. Let them fill it up. Let them fill it up. Let them fill it up. You can't do anything for yourself. You got to get out and just do something. In a pinch, babies over 6 months with no known allergies can have pasteurized milk, whole cow's milk, for a brief period of time until parents are able to find formula. Let's see here. The company reported blah, 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 blah. So there was a see, this is the thing too, this manufactured food crisis we're having. They started talking about a food crisis was coming, and then you started seeing major food manufacturers around the country go up in flames. It's been the strangest thing. And then a baby food factory, the biggest one that makes the formula, went down for like 2 weeks. Ain't that something? It's interesting how they start talking about it, it starts happening. They start talking about we need to curb guns and all this stuff and take away your guns and limit your guns and all that. All of a sudden we start having mass shootings. And in a year, like 3 months, 4 months, we've had more mass shootings than we had under 4 years under President Trump. We've had more skirmishes around the world, international incidents, than we didn't have any under Trump. Isn't that amazing? But then as soon as he's out of the way and we get back to the good old system, then all hell breaks loose again. It's amazing how it happens, isn't it? Let's see here. It'll take 2 months before baby formula from the plant can return to store shelves. We understand the situation is urgent. Getting Sturgis up and running will help alleviate this shortage, the company said in Wednesday's statement. Subject to FDA approval, we could restart the site within 2 weeks. The statement continues. We would begin production of L-Care, Allohumin, and metabolic formulas first, and then begin production of Similac and other formulas. From the time we restart the site, it will take 6 to 8 weeks before product is available on shelves. And, it says, this guy here says on Twitter, I love what they put in the little Twitter articles. It says, why hasn't Joe Biden used the Defense Production Act to order the production of baby formula? Why haven't our journalists who insisted that Trump invoked the act during the pandemic, necessary or not, demand Biden do so? It's kind of interesting when you think about it. And that, that's, what is that, a frog? That's so creepy. Can y'all hear that on the broadcast? That's neat, man. There's a frog apparently outside the window. We call him George, by the way. So anyway, this is just stuff. So let's talk about, I think a lot of people have seen the abortion thing that's been going on, where the Supreme Court, it leaked out like a week or two ago. We hadn't had a chance to talk about it on here yet, that, as far as overturning Roe versus Wade. Okay, I just want to let everybody out there know, if you don't know, they're not halting abortion. They're not taking it out. What they're doing is saying this is something that needs to be decided on by the states or the legislative branches of government. But the law was not put in. When the law was made, it was not done adequately, and it should have. They said that the case should never have been heard. This is something that should have been done legislatively. You know what I'm saying? This is not something that should just be done by judges. And so they're going to send it back to the states if they continue in the direction that it's going. We won't know till June when they report it. But so all the anti-abortion people are happy, all the pro-abortion people are sad, but it's just going back to the state level. Which is where that's how we're a republic. We're not a democracy. We are 50 states that came together to form a union. This is a thing people don't realize because they don't teach it in schools anymore. We're a republic. That means we're governed by the rule of law. And so when I see these things, we're getting back to our constitutional governance. Our federal government their main job is to provide for the common defense of the nation. They're to receive their money from tariffs from other nations, not from us with the taxes and all that. That's against the law. I mean, do you even realize that? It's against the law. But they got it changed. They passed it. They did it the right way. And so when we look at this stuff, we have to realize this is something that all they're doing, they're not abolishing abortion. They're sending it back to the states. Now, here's the thing. If they do that, there would be no federal protection for it. So you get states like, I think it's Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. I read it. It's either Louisiana or Mississippi. I don't remember which. Will make it a murder if a doctor performs an abortion. Not just for the doctor, but for the patient as well. Which I think it should be. I think it's amazing in California. It's not a baby. It is not a human being in that stomach, in that womb. Unless I go and shoot you and you're pregnant, then it's double murder. There you go, right there. Trust the science. Oh man! But that's it. So it's it beats all I've ever seen. This idiocy. Okay, Joe confirms. He says it's Louisiana. I thought it was Louisiana. Thanks for that, Joe. So you have to pay attention, see what's going on, and be excited about it. So how many people's heard this? It's the worst our country's ever been. I wish we could go back to the good old days. It's just the worst it's ever been. Let's see. I don't know. The people are taking the nation back. Christian values are becoming more mainstream. It's being shown in the light again. People, by and large, are rejecting the homosexual agenda being perpetrated on our kids. I was looking in Canada. They don't have these choices in Canada. I wish I would have put the darn article on here to show you guys. A kindergartner was sent home, and the workbook page, the parent took a picture of it and posted it on, sent it to Libs of TikTok, and they posted it because in Canada it would be taken off. And so it talked about, they'll probably get arrested too. It showed, where secret hiding places you can go in your home and masturbate. And on the workbook page, it showed them boys and girls, how to masturbate. And it talked about getting in a secret place in your home. And then journaling it on this workbook page. Kindergartners, 5 and 6-year-old children. Is there no shame? But people are rising up against it. And now here we go, look. Our nation, our Supreme Court is saying we don't want any part of abortion. We're going to send it back to states and give the states the ability to just totally do away with it. I think we're moving in the right direction. I don't know. Pretty soon the church ain't going to have nothing to complain about. What are all you Christians out there going to do when you run out of things to complain about and talk about how bad off the country is? We can still be evil and be a great country at our core. I think we have been before. But our nation really and truly, you go back to Woodrow Wilson's presidency. They made a dedication. They dedicated our economy and changed our economy on a witchcraft altar in Jekyll Island, Georgia. You can pull up all kind of research on it. And that got us off of, that's when they started changing our economy to a debt economy. And it has destroyed our nation ever since. And so this is things you need to look up. It's very, very, very interesting. Amen, Teresa. It is disgusting. But this is stuff that you need to look up. And that's, once they did that, and then we had what? We had the stock market crash. Then we had the Great Depression. Then we had a boom. for what, 25 years, and then it went started falling back down. And then when it goes up, and then it goes down, and it goes up, and it goes down, and our money's worthless now. I was looking at a picture of an album cover the other day with the kids from, I think it was 1968, and rooms at this hotel were $2.50. We just paid $220 or $230 for a room for one night, off season, at where we were at the beach. Wasn't even regular season. I mean, think about it. How worthless is our money now? When $2.25 used to get you a room somewhere. You know, $1 an hour was good money. Ain't that something? I mean, you carry around a lot of pocket change, I guess. But, you know, I mean, but when you look at everything, still kind of lines out the same way it did before Biden inflation kicked in. But everything kind of lined up the same anyway with your hourly rate. So anyway, man, that was a soapbox right there, wasn't it? Let's see here. Let's switch this thing over here and pull this article up. This was off InfoWars as well. This is actually from Information Libertarian, published May the 11th. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, she's our head of the Federal Reserve. Reducing abortions would have very damaging effects on the economy. So if we stop doing abortions, that's going to hurt our economy? What? Seems to me like it would help the economy because, well, you'd have people going to those very, very expensive hospitals getting very, very expensive medical treatment. Therefore, more nurses and doctors would be employed, PCAs, janitors, suppliers, people that make, you know, supplies for birthing babies, you know, pads, you know, wet pad or whatever you call them, things that they put under you to catch the goo and stuff that comes out. You know, so you got medical supply. Then you got baby formula. You got people that make bottles. You got people that make the pumper things for women that choose to nurse. Then you've got the doctor, the pediatrician. There you go. It would help the economy. Thank you, Teresa. You got doctors. You got pediatricians that you're gonna take your baby to see those. You get their checkups done. You know what I mean? And then you got to buy diapers for them. So then we got like Kimberly Clark over here in Beach Island. That helps them because you're buying diapers. Then they're going to get out of diapers. They're going to be buying toilet paper. They're going to have to buy food. Yeah, it helps the economy. But this is the person that's in charge of the Federal Reserve. So, I'm just saying, you want to know what's wrong with the world? Idiots like this are running it. It beats all I've ever seen. It just beats all I've ever seen. And people go, she's right. So aborting babies is good for the economy, so says Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. And here's the thing, I'm just going to read the transcript because we won't have audio on this. Yellen, reducing abortions, quote, would have very damaging effects on the economy. It would set women back decades. How is, oh, I'm sorry, you won't be able to kill your children. It's going to set you back decades. It just beats all I've ever seen. And there's a quote of the thing. So Trent, this was the thing to me that was disturbing. Let's make this picture big here. So you guys can see this. There was no mention of what collapsing birth rates mean to our economies nor our survival. And so this is trend of U.S. birth rates from yearly from 1980 to 2020. So look at this number here. Let me get this thing. Okay, you can see it. Let me get the logo off of here so you can see this. This is birth rates in the United States. That's what's bad for the economy, a declining birth rate. So you got, this is birth rates per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44. So we were right here around 70, and this is going from 1985, 1990, we kind of hit a little spike there. Then it dips down in the mid-90s, and then 2000 starts to rise up. And then about 2007, I think it is, 2007, we hit our spike, and then look where it goes on the right there. It goes straight down, dude. Straight down. Teresa says, silly woman. But that's declining birth rates. You talk about what do you call it? Social Security benefits. So for like us, Generation X, there's nobody working. There ain't gonna be nobody working to pay for us. Needs 3 workers for each retiree. That birth rate right there, it ain't happening. Ain't happening. Abortions keep women at their desk crunching numbers here and now, and that's all that matters. So, Amazon and dozens of other mega corporations announced last week that they'll cover thousands of dollars in expenses to help their employees get abortions if Roe v. Wade is overturned. Babies must be sacrificed so our economy can thrive. Ain't that something?
That's what it says.
Well, Amazon didn't say that, but that's what the person who wrote the article said. And there you got your Molech and people of Israel giving their babies over to Molech, and it's a sad day because, you know, that's what we need apparently according to these liberal people, is that we need we obviously need to kill our children and not give them a chance at life. And remember what we read there in Psalm, what was that, Psalm 139 I think we read, where the Lord talked about what? I knew you. David said it. You knew me before I was even formed. You had my days numbered before I even had my first day. And God has our beginning from our end. He knows it. And so that's what the devil's trying to do is cut that off from God, to take that away from him. So what time? Oh gosh, 7:59. Boy, that was a quick hour, wasn't it? I'm going to do one more story. Y'all all right with that? If I do one more story, Paige, you all right with that? Mm-hmm. All right, praise God. So this is a fun one. We'll end on this one because I like to try to end on a fun one. And you never know what you're going to read out there sometimes online. I'm just going to tell y'all. So this is from Metro. What is this? Dead woman bangs on coffin to say she's alive during her own funeral. This is from Kirsten Robertson. Monday, May 2nd, 2022. Woman rushed to hospital after banging on coffin at her own funeral. A funeral in Peru was dramatically interrupted after knocking was heard from within the coffin. The family of Rosa Isabel Ceperas Calaca had gathered in the city of to pay their respects on April 26th. Rosa had been involved in a serious crash in the region's road. The accident claimed the life of her brother-in-law and left her nephews with serious injuries. She had been pronounced dead, quote-unquote dead, following the horrific crash and later loaded into a coffin ahead of her funeral. Ain't that something? She loaded into a coffin ahead of her funeral. Let's see. There we go. Let's do it like this. Okay. She had been pronounced, let's see here, but when her relatives hoisted the wooden structure onto their shoulders, they began to hear strange sounds. Could you imagine? Oh, man.
I'd be afraid of the demon.
I know. I'd be afraid it was the devil, too. They lowered the coffin and opened the lid to find a weak but very much alive Rosa peering up at them. Cemetery caretaker Juan Cajo said she opened her eyes and she was sweating. I immediately went to my office and called the police. There's a picture of him. I don't know why that guy's got a helmet on. What kind of funerals do they have in Peru? That dude's got on bulletproof vest and a helmet. Maybe that's the police. I don't know. Let's see. Rose had been rushed from her own funeral to hospital last week. Teresa said, I would have thrown that coffin in the water.
That would not have helped the survival rate.
Oh, so here she is. It's a young lady. I got them pictures on her writing all over. Shocked relatives rushed Rosa, still in her coffin, to the referential hospital for FNAF in that city. Once there, Rosa was found to have weak signs of life and was hooked up to a life support machine by medics. But her condition deteriorated and she tragically died just a few hours later.
Aww.
Her family, who had to say their farewells twice, are now demanding answers. They have expressed outrage. Probably was a demon. She's already pronounced dead once. Let's see here. Because there was this.
Yeah, but can you imagine
I feel bad for them. Yeah.
It's not funny.
Well, it's a funny story until you get to that part.
It's sad.
It is sad, but it's funny until you get there.
Continue to live.
Yeah, that would have been extra cool. Her family, who had to say their farewells twice, demanded answers. They have expressed outrage at healthcare bosses at the fact that she was declared dead in the first place. There she is. That's sad. An unnamed aunt told local media that we want to know why my niece reacted yesterday when they were taking her to be buried. We have the videos in which she pushes and touches the coffin. Rosa's family suspected she may have been in a coma following the crash, which would explain why she was pronounced dead the first time around. Police in Peru are now working on an investigation to see what just happened at the hospital where she was first treated, which led to her death. Rosa's 3 nephews who were injured in the same crash as she are said to be recovering in hospital, but still in a serious condition. So here's the thing. Think about this. So you got a demon. Demons that are in this lady. Doing that freaks people out. It gets somewhere for it to go. You know what I mean? The devil wants to freak you out. The devil wants to do things like that to you. And so when we allow, we don't really allow, he's just going to do it. But so the devil comes up, gives the hope, false hope, because the demons work in the body, gives the false hope to the family so they can crush them again. You know what I'm saying? It happens. And there's no other explanation for it. How is she dead and then she's alive and then she's dead? Don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's what's wrong with the world this week. There's a lot wrong with it, but there's so much right with it. There's so much right with the world. And I encourage you, come out. I encourage you to get out there and find something awesome. Find something awesome with the world. And when you do, tell somebody about it. Tell somebody about the crazy things Jesus does. Tell somebody about the crazy ways he's blessed you. And don't be afraid to do what's right in the eyes of God. Don't worry about the eyes of man, but do what's right in the eyes of God. And watch how he blesses you. This has been Jason Hicks, What's Wrong with the World Hour. Thank you for joining us. And you know what? Y'all stay straight, stay calm. It's going to be all right. Jesus is in control. And all you have to do is let him be there. God bless you until we see you next time. What's wrong with the world hour?